Okay, we're going to get started. Call the meeting to order. It is 7:00 p.m. First is our flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right, roll call.
Thank you. Ms. Bullenbacher.
Here.
Mr. Chandler is absent. Ms. Compatello.
Here.
Mr. Hoof. Here. Ms. McCalnick.
Here.
Mr. Oliverio.
Here.
Mr. Riddell is absent. Mayor Perry.
Here.
Solicitor Corbel.
I'm here.
Engineer Keenan.
Here.
And myself, we do have a quorum.
Great, thank you. So we have our consent agenda, the council meeting minutes of January 23rd, and the bill list from today are all on the OneDrive for council to view. So need a motion to approve the February 13th, 2025 consent agenda pending bill list approval by the Borough President, Manager, and Treasurer.
So moved.
Ms. Polkownik,
Second.
Ms. Rollenbacher, any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Public comments on agenda items. At this time, citizens may address the Crafton Borough Council on any issue appearing on today's agenda. Only residents and taxpayers of the Borough of Crafton will be permitted to address the council. Comments on non-agenda items will be taken at the end of tonight's meeting. Speakers will be permitted to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. Groups of people will be required to designate a spokesperson to represent them before the council, who may speak for a maximum of 5 minutes. Council has the option to respond or not at the end of the address. The solicitor is the assigned timekeeper. Please state your name and physical address for the record. So we'll take the folks that are here in first, and then we'll go to online. First, we have Steve.
Check.
No.
No. I can check.
That's not better.
Yeah. Steve Crescenzo, 79 Duncan. I have a question regarding item 9J. Duncan Ingram Avenue. I know this was discussed in previous meetings, but wanted a little bit of clarification on the way this wording is presented here. Are we just looking at a two-way from the intersection of Ingram on Duncan down to Maxwell, or is it the entire length of Duncan?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Is that it?
That's it.
Oh, okay. 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 Maxwell or Duncan. Stupid. Okay. We can address that during the engineer's report. All right. Next is Dave Supertzi.
Good evening. My name's Dave Sapertzi. I'm a resident of Duncan Avenue, 35 years. Like Steve, we'd like a clarification on the length of the two-way traffic that you're proposing on Duncan Avenue. If you need a impact study on this street, I have 35 years of data.
Okay.
Okay. And I've noticed all the changes through the years.
Right.
And I believe this would be a waste of money of the taxpayers' money to put into this study,
Mhm.
because this is not feasible.
Mhm. All right. Thank you, Dave. Justin.
Justin Marks, 31 Oregon. I just wanted to make a quick comment about the rec board appointments this evening. I know some folks around the neighborhood have been talking about some of these, and I took the time to Google some of the folks who are being considered tonight. Most of them show up nearly nothing, just information or maybe news about their contributions to the library or other various things. But one of them, Corey Roma, has a lot of turmoil around the reporting of what was going on. I'm not here to make a judgment call one way or the other. But I know that it gave me pause whenever I've thought about serving the community here. Not to say that folks who have these types of things happen, as someone who is has family who have been convicted and gone through ARD and some other things. I do believe there's plenty of time to make that stuff up and then go serve your community. But again, seeing that appointment just gave me a little pause, and I'm curious to hear if it gave anybody else on council pause. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Marks. Anybody online, please raise your hand on Zoom. Your Petrie?
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, how you doing? So Phil Petrie, I also live on Duncan Avenue, and just a little concerned with the idea, one, that Duncan would be considered to be a two-way, and two, that we'd consider spending any money on any type of study when I think that those funds could be put to some other uses, maybe the website, maybe the trail improvements, possibly an impact study for some of the proposed zoning changes that are being considered. So just wanted to get my voice heard. Thanks for your consideration.
Thank you, sir. Now we have Debbie Reagan.
Hi there, Debbie Reagan, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, also on Duncan, and just echoing the other people that have spoken, but we strongly do not want Duncan to be two-way. It's not feasible. Part of Duncan does not have sidewalks. That would be a big issue. If somebody was going to go down Duncan towards Ingram Avenue and choose to make a left, how would that even happen? It's hard enough to make a right. So it's wasted money. Please do not allow this to go forward. We're really wasting the taxpayers' money. And like people said, it could be used for other things. But we residents are totally opposed to it. And if a common sense study was just to be used, if any of the members would just look at Duncan, you would see that this is not feasible to be a two-way street. So we're hoping that this gets killed tonight. It's done and does not move forward, especially with no money being spent. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. All right, that is it for the hands raised. We will move on to the president's report. Nothing. Yeah, is it? Okay.
Greg Wozniak, 1773 Bar Avenue. I have two things. First, I want to say that we should, I think, listen to the people on Duncan Avenue. It save us a lot of money. It's what that little area of town wants. So we should just quit spending any more time or money on it, in my opinion. And the other question I have in the interview process for these appointments, is there a list of questions that you can share with the public of what was asked? Was there questions asked that related to the position itself? That the knowledge of zoning, the knowledge of whatever position. I know I was interviewed for planning commission, and the technical questions were very, very vague, if there were any technical questions. So I just want to know during the interview process if people are interviewed for what they know about the subject of the job they're going for, just like going for any other type of job. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Buchanan, if you can answer those during your session if you want. Sure. That's up to you. All right, moving on to the president's report. Nothing to report tonight. Everything's on the agenda. Mayor's report.
So just earlier this evening at 6:30, we had a commendation ceremony for our fire department, our police department, and our public works, attended by a number of community members. And we recorded it so that it can be put out for the greater community to observe. We made special mention of everyone's valor during the horrible residential fire that we had in January. And we use also as an opportunity to thank them for their services throughout the year that often goes unnoticed and unremarked upon. That's about it for me.
Thank you. Solicitors report.
Just one quick item that want to announce that we are council's holding an executive session following tonight's meeting to discuss personnel matters. That's the end of my report.
Great. All right, engineers report. Mr. Seaman.
All right, good evening. First item regarding the Broadhead Sewer Project. We've been trying to get this out to bid as soon as possible, but recently last week, we did receive some unexpected comments from a grant specialist within the EPA, we believe, who is new to this project, has not seen anything based on their comments, but after reviewing them, we're looking at resolving them and getting responded back to them within a week. The other part of this is the Prince Street. Nothing has really changed on that end. We're still waiting to hear back from the property owner's attorney who wants to do a site visit. Likely it's because of the weather that this has been postponed, but once we get a approval from the EPA, we're looking to present them a hard deadline on whether or not they will participate. But that's the update for that. Ewing Road, the direction on this was to seek out the gateway, see have them assess the alternatives and options to addressing this road closure. A recent update from them is that it'll be about 2 weeks before they are able to provide their results. Next, the public stairs project. This project's been completed, and happy to report that we did receive the $200,000 grant disbursement from the county. That's now in our possession, and fortunately, there's still a last step. They want us to do a program audit. That will be done and completed in the next few months. The C20 sewer separation project. This project has been out to bid, and that has concluded. And we did receive the bid results as well as notification of the lowest bidder through a recommendation letter. That contractor is Tedesco Excavating and Paving. But that said, I just wanted to verify with everyone that this has no relation or affiliation to the current staff member with the same last name. And further vetting revealed that they're a 47-year-old company and they've done great work throughout the region. With that said, I'd like to move to the motion to award the C20 separation project to Tedesco Excavating and Paving Inc. and the amount of $2,349,052.50 as recommended by Gateway Engineers.
So moved.
Ms. Compatello,
Second.
Ms. Polkownik, any questions or discussion?
We might want to share here that this was lower than we had anticipated. This came in below what we had budgeted for that project, so we're very happy with the results we got. Also wanted to note, as the engineer said, we did do some research into the company. They've been around for 47 years. So we have no reason to be questioning this, but also just wanted to note for everyone, we are required to take the lowest reliable bidder, and this was our lowest reliable bid. And we're under what we budgeted, so always good news to see that.
Yeah, I'll add that, in fact, we're under what we budgeted for both of the combined projects. Now, after combining it into one, so this is a really good result for us.
That's great.
And just for those that haven't followed along, two things. One is this is through the consent decree, which we're required to do for the overflow of the sewer project. And the second thing, just can we say what streets are going to be impacted by this versus the ones which used to be Oregon and Montana and back there?
Primarily it's going to be Steuben and Linden, and I believe the very bottom part of Richmond where it connects into Steuben.
Right. So all the other projects, the green infrastructure, are all off the table and not on this project.
Okay.
Sorry. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. The next item has been on the agenda for some time now. This is regards to the sewer detention basin underneath the Crafton Elementary School parking lot. The goal here is to do some in-house inspections, Unfortunately, we need to do that at an ideal time, hopefully when the school's not in session and when the weather's at an optimum. Upcoming forecasting, it's been decided that this just gets held off until early summer when school is no longer in session and when the weather is at a good time as well. So this will be the last update on this until that takes place. Moving on to the Public Works Building, contractor Amarante has been out there. They installed and built a sanitary sewer lateral for the new building. That work has been completed and tested, and the county has been out there inspecting as well, and everything's been approved and good to go. The next step is to complete the final build out on the interior of the building, get that operational for the Public Works Department. Right now, final decisions are being made and plan revisions done. Looking to go out to bid with this in March. Next is this year's sewer O&M repairs, which the program consists of 3 different contracts. Currently, it's out for bid. We did have a pre-bid meeting this Tuesday. Did have over 10 different contractors there, so decent turnout. Looking forward to receiving those bids on the 27th. Next is the Station Street retaining wall. This is regards to the failing concrete retaining wall up by Station and Division Street. Have been expecting the first round of design documents. I just happened to have gotten them a few days ago. Not fully reviewed at this time, but we did receive 3 different options as solutions, and some initial cost estimates show that it will be between $158,000 to $192,000 for this work to be completed. And should have more to reveal next meeting. Next item, again, is the People's Gas Main work going on in the borough. No update here. The gas line work has been completed, and restoration work is scheduled to begin early spring once the weather improves. Next item is the Duncan and Ingram Avenue request to be made from 1-way to 2-way. The direction we moved on this was seeking out the gateway, see what it would take to go into putting a traffic study together, if that was the way to go, as well to see if there was any history on the prior 1-way conversion. Did find out that a company called Trans Associates did do the initial traffic study in that area many years ago. Fortunately, it was so long ago that they don't have any original records or documents of this, and were unable to provide anything for us. But Gateway did also add that if the traffic study were the direction to go, that it would cover around 6 intersections and would cost up to $10,000 to be done. So that's the update.
Add a bit more context there. This is something that first came onto the agenda because of a resident request at a council meeting.
Business owner.
Um,
Business owner.
He's a resident.
he's a
And a
resident.
resident, yeah.
Business is not
Yeah.
in Crafton, the
Right.
Crafton resident, request. To look at, doing, some changes, on one block, affecting that area. And so the first step that was taken in last month's infrastructure meeting, which is the infrastructure meeting handles requests like that before they come to council, we discussed, the area and the need for, because the request was looking at changing a traffic pattern and looking at adding a stop sign that does require a traffic study. And so the committee had talked about, if we need to do a traffic study, what information do we need to have, and what amount of cost would it take? At that point, it then came to the last council meeting to share information with council that this was what was being explored. There was discussion, there was input from residents that this was not at all something that residents wanted. We proceeded just to get the quote so that council could continue to explore the issue and know, you know, we've had one resident request that we do look at this, and a number of residents request that we not. At this point, we did get input, did the research that the engineer mentioned, and then we got a quote from Gateway that arrived this afternoon for the traffic study will cost up to $10,000. I think that's kind of where we're at. No action has been taken from council, no money has been spent on this, but we have an assessment that we can, if we think we want to do this traffic study. it will cost us up to about $10,000. I don't know if we want to do the traffic study. This all originated with one request, and it seems that there's ample opposition against it.
I have
Do you
a
have any?
yeah, I want to add some points that were in the memo that we got from Gateway today. Which was that cartway is only 30 feet wide, not 40 feet, which is what we initially thought it was. Which means that you can only have parking on one side of the street if you change that to two-way, and it's currently parking on both sides of the street. So that's another issue that would be against, I'm sure that residents would be against. And then there was one other thing, and now I'm slipping and in the memo itself, they stated that anytime you're doing a traffic study like this, a big part of that is to ask the residents. And I think they've been pretty clear about how they feel about it. But just wanted to bring up those 2 points because that was brought up in the memo and everybody hasn't had a chance to see that memo yet. So.
I guess to recap, the infrastructure committee did not make any recommendation at this time on anything. And we were still waiting on a cost estimate, but we were operating under the assumption that it would probably be a cost that we wouldn't want to spend. Now we have that cost as well.
Yep.
And still there's no recommendation from the infrastructure committee that we do anything at this time. So.
And in addition, because of the complexity of that intersection, because if you change it, it could affect all the traffic with shopping, which is why you basically have to look at 6 intersections if you were going to do it. And I know in the past, when people have requested these types of things, it's been on the requester to pay for a given study. So just throwing that out there.
Any thoughts or discussions, council?
I mean, so I'm just curious, what do you need from us on this? I mean, it seems people have spoken, we should not be doing this. So what do we need to do? What is the steps to say, let's spin our wheels on something else?
Yeah, so basically, council discusses that people can make motions if they want to move forward with it, or there's no motions and we decide to move on. So it's a great question. I think where just kind of a summary is that the initial request was from Ingram to Maxwell, and to have that be 2 ways. And then you do a larger traffic study because you have traffic that goes in all points. We have not heard from any resident that supports it. And there aren't that many residents on that short portion of Duncan, because the Ingram to Maxwell there's no residents, at least right there. And then the other section is residents, and we were getting comments from many of them that they don't have a want for this. My recommendation is that we move on and keep the intersection as it is and the street.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I don't think we need to take action unless there's an action we wish to take. And there was no recommendation that came from the infrastructure committee this time.
Great.
so we can consider this one closed.
Okay.
Okay. That said, that will be removed from future agendas. The next item is the Linwood and Noble Parks. Again, this is a DCNR backed future project. And right now we have a surveyor who was out there this week doing the surveying of both parks. And we're looking to receive those in the next week or 2. And we'll move forward with potential concept designs. Last item, permit applications. We've been sending out on Savvy Citizen, street openings and permit applications, notifications of utility work going on in the community. I just wanted to share some of the recent ones with you that can be found on Savvy if you are following that. Duquesne Light has submitted 5 recent permits for pole replacements. They are to occur on or near 26 South Grandview, 198 Chartiers Avenue, 194 Chartiers Avenue, 1935 Crafton Boulevard, and 11 Emerson Avenue. And PA American Water also submitted a permit for sidewalk construction and repair at 5 Montana Street. With that said, I'd like to conclude the engineer's report.
Very good. Does council have any questions for the engineer?
It's not a question. I want to say I liked the this last one, seeing that all on Savvy, like those streets. So I thought that was a really nice, I don't know, just a nice thing to do. So.
Great.
Right. Manager's report, Mr. Price.
All right, thank you. All right, first thing on the Trail Study Committee, we had our first Trail Study Committee meeting last month. And this month we'll be taking a tour of the trails. So everybody will get out and get to see how they what the condition they're in and what we're dealing with in person. That'll be happening next Sunday. And we also got the RFP out, and I just sent out correspondence today to everybody on the trail committee. So the folks who are on the selection committee, we got moved back a little bit. Did you guys receive those emails? You did, good.
Yes.
Because for some reason, when I expand the list, it doesn't always show everybody. So it's just being odd. So thank you for letting me know that you did get it. So that will be happening. So we're looking forward to that. And then the next thing on my thing is we would like to move the full-time move our code inspector from part-time to full-time. So we'd like to approve changing the code inspector from a part-time position to a full-time position. So with that, and this has been budgeted, this was budgeted last year, incorporated. And we're looking to ramp up our rental inspections, and this will be very helpful with that. So I'd like a motion to approve changing the code inspector position from a part-time position to a full-time position with benefits.
So moved. Mr. Hope,
Second.
Ms. Comptello. Any questions or discussion?
When would that take effect?
Immediately. We would do it, and we would let them know tomorrow, and it would probably start the next pay period, which I think is in 2 days, so it'll be Monday.
Should we add that to the motion? Okay. So,
yeah.
So we have to.
Just to make the amendment, whoever.
Mr. Hope.
Yep.
You agree to that amendment?
Yes, I would agree to the amendment that it would. Yeah.
I would agree to second the amended motion.
Thank you.
So it's next pay period is what it would be. So basically the motion is to approve changing the code inspector position from a part-time position to a full-time position with benefits effective at the next pay period, start of the next pay period. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. I do want to mention that Ms. Bollenbacher had to leave. She's ill, so she had to leave the meeting today. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Next thing on my list is the annual wage resolution. This is a resolution setting the wages for non-union borough staff for 2025. With that, I'd like a motion, and these were all the changes that were in there were budgeted. I'd like a motion to approve resolution 2025-02, wage resolution setting the wages for non-union employees for 2025.
So moved.
Ms. Polkownik,
Second.
Ms. Compitello. Good discussion. Oh. Okay. She heard me. Okay. Ms. Bollenbacher, we have a motion on the table about the wage resolution. And we have a motion and a second, and now we're at discussion or questions.
Thank you.
This was reviewed at the last finance committee meeting. And like Manager Price said, it was budgeted for, so.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes.
All right. Next thing on my list is the new website. We do have, this has been mentioned before, council is currently reviewing in detail some of that work. So we should be getting feedback from them and moving forward with that. Hopefully before, by beginning of March is the goal. The next thing up, we are looking for a summer intern through the local government academy, focusing on business development. We were the top of the list actually for almost every intern, but the first two interns has turned us down. So it happens. The last 2 years in a row, we had to go through 5 to get to someone, and we got great interns both times. It's just a matter of locking them in when you get them. So we haven't locked one in yet, but we're hoping to do that in the next week. That's a great program because local government academy pays for half of that intern, so we only have to pay half the price of the intern. So it's a very good way for us to get a young, ambitious student who is interested in helping us out. Last 2 years in a row have been very successful. So, yep.
One thing, if you were done, for the video, are we making sure that it's
Oh, yeah,
showing
pin, yeah,
the flip,
there you go.
so that people are just
Yeah,
watching.
just click on the
game.
blue dots there and click pin. There you go.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions on that? No?
Do we know what the focus of the intern would be this time? Because I know each year they've had sort of a very.
They've had
specific-
projects. So it's gonna be working on business development. They're gonna be working on helping us develop that list of all the businesses, what the vacancies are, what their interests are as far as filling those vacancies. And then as that progresses, I'm sure other things will come up related to that. And I think there was something else involved. We are looking for someone with GIS skills, geographic information skills, so they can make maps about it. As they go through, typically, we start with a main project, but then they branch out from there.
When you're saying vacancies, do you mean buildings?
Building
Yeah,
vacancies,
okay,
correct, yes. Yeah, business vacancies.
Yeah.
And can anybody apply for these positions?
Anybody who is currently in school. So anybody who is currently, and it can be any college, and you have to apply through LGA. I'm not certain if you can still apply. That window may have shut.
Okay.
But I can confirm that. Yeah, I'm not sure on that end.
Okay.
Yeah, I know what our deadlines are, I'm not sure
Right.
what their deadlines are.
Okay.
Yep. Anything else? All right. And then the last thing on the list is the Business Development Subcommittee. This is a subcommittee of the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission has received several applications for people interested in that. If you're interested in being a part of that subcommittee, by all means, apply. We have until tomorrow. The cutoff is tomorrow. So if you're interested in helping us with business.
Saturday, right?
Oh, yeah, Saturday, sorry, the 15th. So please, if you're interested, please respond by the 15th and we'll start the process. The Planning Commission will start the process of choosing who's going to be on that subcommittee. And that's it for my report.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Price. Standing Committees Report, Finance Administration Sustainability, Mr. Ho.
The Finance Administration Sustainability Committee has not met since the last meeting, so I have no report this evening, but I will have a report at the next meeting.
Thank you. Infrastructure and Land Use, Ms. Costello.
Yes, engineer gave a good update about each of the projects. The infrastructure committee met just earlier this week on Monday to go over all of those. So he gave our update for tonight, but wanted to also share with the community. This was on our last agenda too, but reminding the community and just celebrating that we are bringing in grant awards that will help us afford projects in the future. Hopefully, we were awarded 2 grants in the past month and a half or so. One for EV chargers. This is a US DOT federal grant funds that were awarded to Allegheny County. It's over $4 million. So the applicant was Allegheny County, but those are funds that are allocated for electric vehicle charging stations in a number of communities that all indicated interest and participated in preparing the grant application. So Crafton was one of those, and we are due to receive 8 charging stations, 16 ports total, through this funding. Although again, it is US DOT funding, federal funding. We don't get funding until after the project is in place. When we are awarded a grant, it's just the government, whatever level it is, in this case, the US DOT, telling us we've been selected. We don't have money yet. Allegheny County doesn't have the money yet. And I don't know if we have any updates, but we will certainly share. A lot of that federal funding is in flux.
That federal funding specifically has been specifically called out. And there's been an executive order issued to stop it. So I don't know, obviously, what the courts will do with that, but that funding specifically has been paused or rescinded at this point.
Rescinded.
Yes.
The second one, although I have heard conflicting things.
Okay, yeah.
'Cause I did speak to someone involved with that grant
Oh, okay.
application who has heard from the DOT that it may be honored.
Okay,
We were not the grant applicant.
It's a very gray time.
The Allegheny County was the grant applicant. We will keep the community updated as we know more, and it may take some time to know more. The second one, however, is not a federal grant, it is state funding. We also were awarded a MORE grant, and that is municipal opportunities for retrofits and energy efficiency. We received a notice of a $50,000 grant award. This is through Pennsylvania's DEP, Department of Environmental Protection. So this is a state agency. And that is to do an energy audit of our 3 municipal buildings, the magistrates building, the library, and this municipal building.
Yep.
Exciting news for us, and
we actually started
share
that.
more to come as we start that project.
Yeah, we started the audit on Tuesday or Wednesday, excuse me.
That's all for my updates.
Great. Thank you. Planning Commission, in the absence of Mr. Rodilla, Mr. Price.
Thank you. The Planning Commission, the big news obviously is the zoning update. We will be having the next meeting on February 25th at 6:30. They'll be reviewing the items from the previous meeting at that meeting. But we've also put out, we made a few changes. The website now has clarified where zoning is found under resolutions, and on the front page, we made it a little simpler. We removed some of the documents that were from memos from past, and we updated a few of the documents. So the request document has been updated with the responses to the requests from the Planning Commission. So that's on the website. And then there's all the new codes are put right next to each other on that website, so it's easier to look back and forth on them based on some comments we received from some folks. So we're looking forward to that. The Planning Commission has decided that they would like to do a outreach event in March, probably early March. They have not set a date yet. That will be happening soon, and we'll be getting information out about that. And then any further discussions, forums, and meetings that are being planned, it will be held as needed before the revised draft is done. That's my update on the Planning Commission and the zoning code.
Thank you, Mr. Price. Communication Recreation, Ms. Bolenbacher, are you okay?
Yeah, I can. Thank you. My apologies, everybody, for stepping out. I'm a bit under the weather. But anyway, upcoming community events. We do have our Valentine's Day community dinner tomorrow, the murder mystery dinner. It is sold out, so thank you to everybody who had interest. And my understanding is there was enough interest that if we do it again, we're going to make it even bigger with more tickets. So looking forward to that. Other things that are coming up this year that I'll have additional details for in upcoming meetings. We have our cleanup and shredding day on April 12th. Arbor Day, I believe, will be on April 26th. Our 10th anniversary garden celebration will be on May 17th. We have our Independence Day party on July 4th. Fall Fest is September 27th. Celebration of Lights will be December 6th, and the Holiday House Tour will be December 16th. So add everything to your calendar. More details to come. And of course, as always, Rec Board is always looking for volunteers. You don't have to volunteer for anything specific. Just please email them through the Borough website, just letting them know what your contact information is. And they will contact you with upcoming events, what they need, and you're welcome to accept or decline. So please help us out. That's it. Thank you. Oh, next up, I'm sorry, is our newsletter. We are in our final review of the newsletter now, and that should be out, I believe, was it the first week of March or second week, Jim?
I think it's the second week.
Okay, thank you. So you should start seeing it in your mailboxes the second week of March. And that's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Board Commissions Recruiting, Ms. Bocalan.
Thank you, thank you. All right, I guess I'll answer or speak to the questions that were asked initially, and then we'll get into all the motions we're gonna be making for all of our, basically, it's a rec board heavy night. Questions asked. There is not a script. There is not set questions. As I mentioned before, it's myself, it's Kirsten, it's the chairperson. It is. And I also want to, these are volunteers, so it's not like we're drilling people with hard-hitting questions. Why they're interested, what do they think they can contribute? Why do they want to be involved? Why does this matter to you? What
are some of the ideas?
Yeah, what would you want to bring to this? What would you like to see? So if you're asking me for specifics, I don't have a script.
I would say you have asked generally those questions, but also very clearly kind of let the person, the chairperson of whichever committee it is. So whether it's rec board or shade tree commission or zoning hearing board, are all entities that we've had interviews for lately. We generally have
and
had
that is
person lead and.
Yeah, and recently, as everyone knows, we have been filling, focusing on rec board because there were 2 resignations, and then we have 2 individuals whose seats were coming up. So the focus has been on rec board. And I mean, this isn't, I don't want to say it, this isn't drilling into this. These are volunteers who want to work the celebration of lights and stand with me to make sure that the trash is, not overflowing, or that there is an issue in, with a vendor who might be running out of something. So that's just one example. Murder mystery example, it's helping set up. So to transition into pause for Corey, I had none. And let's remember, he was also on zoning board and was appointed by the council as well. So I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but this rec board has had open seats for a while. As I've mentioned before, it's not, there isn't a wave of people beating down the door to be a volunteer on any of our committees. So I had no concern with Corey. The chairperson of rec board, I spoke with her numerous times before last council, when we interviewed Corey, after all of the horribleness that was playing out on social media, conversations were had about that. And not on blood pressure meds, but boy, did I need them that day. So Corey, my sincere apologies for the horrible nastiness that played out for you. Nobody deserves that. But there are no concerns from the chairperson, from the rec board as a whole. And again, I'm not speaking for my 3 folks or 2 folks and Aaron. So that is my spiel on Corey. So
Can I just say I support everything Pam said. So even though you weren't intending to speak for me, you did. So thank you.
Okay. Well, and as your second on the committee, I have backed and supported all of the appointees we have on our agenda tonight.
Okay. So moving on. As mentioned, rec board had 2 resignations and then 2 current members, their seats are set to expire. So that is why there is such a wave of 4 individuals right now. So I'll just go down the list. First up, Chris Nicholson, he is one of our current serving members. His seat is expiring at the end of February. Yes, at the end of February. We have had conversations with him. He was very interested in serving again, but rec board is a 4-year term, did not want to commit to that, which I appreciated his honesty, because that can be very intimidating to any individual to see 4 years and think, I have to give you 4 years. And as much as we can say life happens, you can resign. He did not want to do that. So with having a seat that was available, that was going to expire next year, he was very interested in that. So my first motion that I'm looking for is a motion to appoint Chris Nicholson to the Recreation Board for a term that will expire on February 28th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Bolenbacher, Mr. Hove, seconds. Any comments or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay. And next up is a motion to appoint Corey Roma to the Recreation Board for a term that will expire on December 31st, 2027.
So moved.
Ms. Bolenbacher,
Second.
Ms. Confitello? Any comments or discussion?
One more comment to this. I will say that this is one of the seats that was due to a resignation. So that is why this one is set to expire in 2027.
Any other comments? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, moving on, looking for a motion, well, before I start, Mandy, I should have clarified how to pronounce this one. Guarino, wait, no, I'm making it. Garino, yes, Garino. Sorry, Mandy. Mandy's currently on rec board as well. Very interested in renewing or reapplying for her position on the rec board. So normal process was had. We had conversations with chairperson myself. And that is why I am looking to make a motion to reappoint Mandy. Say it one more time. Garino. Mandy Garino to the Recreation Board for a term that will expire on February 28th, 2029.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Okay, Mr. Hove, second is Ms. Bolenbacher. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes.
All right, and last motion that I'm making to fill our last vacant seat. This was one that is going to be empty at the end of the month here. So to looking for a motion to appoint Gabrielle Backner to the Recreation Board for a term that will expire on February 28th, 2029.
So moved. Second.
So Ms. Bolenbacher, second. Okay, any questions or comments?
Does Gabrielle serve on any other boards or anything?
She does not. You will recognize her. 'Cause she is one of our amazing librarians. She is not serving on any other board.
Any other comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Great. Thank you, everyone. So rec board is full. It is full, and as Erin mentioned, there is a lot of really great community activities this year. So I look forward to seeing many of you, if not all of you, at all of these events with a really full and solid rec board, and please bring the volunteers. We will always need help with volunteers.
Can I add one quick thing too, which is also a thank you to Danielle. And this, you were part of this, but also Danielle, all of these interviews.
Oh, yeah.
This was a lot of interviews in a short period of time.
Yep.
And she gave up a lot of time for that too.
Yes. Okay, so currently our open positions on our website, craftonborough.com/commissions. We have 2 alternate seats for our Civil Service Commission. Those have been vacant for a while. So if anyone is interested in learning more about that, the description is on the website. Again, we're looking for 2 of those. They're very involved in police department testing. So it is a very important commission to serve on. If anyone is interested, I encourage you to review and apply.
Mayor Perry, can you explain what they do, please?
Sure.
That's fine.
So, civil service, their primary responsibility is to, work towards, having a competitive, list for potential hires for the police department. They, review, civil service, rules. Yeah, that is their main thing. Mr. Corporal, is there anything I missed?
They would handle testing.
Oh, that-
for
yes.
promotions.
Right,
We
oh,
have.
for promotions, yes. Yep.
But, and if there are appeals that individuals subject to said testing can take, and they can take those appeals to the Civil Service Commission, so they can function as a quasi judicial body as well.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
So yes, that is our current open positions, because as just happened 3 minutes ago, we did fill our rec board. Upcoming positions down the road, we are, have been actively interviewing for Shade Tree Commission. We will have a seat becoming available, essentially April 1st, the current seat that will be open ends at March 31st, so April 1st. Planning Commission, where we have, 2 4-year terms, that will be available, after 4/13, so 4/14. Zoning Hearing Board, we will have, this is way down the road, so if anybody really wants to start thinking about it, at the end of the year. So we're gonna have one regular seat and an alternate seat. So that's down the road, but if you're interested in Shade Tree or planning, I encourage you again, look on the website, apply. The interview process is myself, Kirsten, and the chairperson of the committee. We usually look for 30 minutes of a Zoom call, so. Schedules can be tricky, so we're working, scheduling sometimes can be very, lots of people to schedule with.
Yeah, and then just a reminder, because I know this was covered in a different section, but it does kind of relate. There's also the business development subcommittee that you have one more day to apply to. Yeah, there's 2 more days to apply to if interested.
But am clarifying on that. We are not the interviewees on that. That's Planning Commission.
Lots of ways to get involved, though.
Yep.
And some of these boards and committees, certainly things like the Recreation Board and the Shade Tree Commission do a lot of activities around the community that are always looking for more volunteers. Whether you're on the board or not, you can still volunteer. Volunteers are welcome.
Gosh, I feel like we never talk as much. And I also want to say, these meetings are open to the public. So anybody can come to a rec board meeting. Anyone can come to Shade Tree Planning, like they are open to the public. So if anyone has cause for concern for any of these, please come join us. We'd love to have you. Okay.
Is that it?
That's it.
All right. I just wanted to formally thank you, Ms. Volcanic, as taking over this committee last year. And to have just a few seats actually open is very commendable. I know it takes a lot of work and getting volunteers to do it and scheduling. So thank you so much for your leadership on this and all the chairs that work with you. And
The chairs.
yeah, and Ms. Costello just started onto the committee, but it is a lot of work and it's important. So thank you. Thank you for your hard work on this. Last item is our Council of Governments, Ms. Bolenbacher.
Just need to announce that the next meeting is next Thursday, February the 20th at 6:30 in Stowe Township. And as always, if anyone's interested in joining me, let me know so I can RSVP for you. Thank you. That's
Great, thank you. All right, community announcements. We have our next council meeting in 2 weeks, February 27th at 7 o'clock. Murder mystery, nothing to announce. It's sold out, so nothing to be able to do for that. 2025 summer employment. So we are looking for people for summer employment. For the Borough of Crafton is accepting applications for the following seasonal positions: pool manager, assistant pool manager, concession manager, head lifeguard, lifeguards, junior lifeguards, cashiers, attendants, concession stand workers, and seasonal public works. Applications must be able to pass a state criminal background check, a child line abuse and registry clearance, and a drug and alcohol test. Paper applications can be obtained at the office, or you can apply online. All applications must be submitted to the office no later than 4:00 p.m. on March 14th. And there is a lot of people that do apply, which we are very blessed in our community to have that, because a lot of communities struggle, especially for our pool. But we've got a strong pool manager from the past and staff that have been with us for many years, including maybe some people in the audience that have done it in their past. So definitely encourage folks. I think the minimum age is 14.
Correct.
To be able to apply. And I believe the wages are also on, the wages from that were just approved tonight will be updated on the website. All right, any other events or things happening? All right, With that, public comment at this time, citizens may address the Crafton Borough Council on any issue. Only residents and taxpayers of the Borough of Crafton will be permitted to address the council. Speakers will be permitted to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. Groups of people will be required to designate a spokesperson to represent them before the council and may speak for a maximum of 5 minutes. Council has the option to respond or not at the end of the address. The solicitor is our assigned timekeeper, and please state your name and physical address for the record. So for the audience here, you'll just raise your hand and then we'll move to any Zoom folks to raise their hand. Anyway, Mr. Wagner. No, there you go. Say something.
No,
Say something.
it's not on.
I thought I heard it right there.
You gotta hold the button in. There you go. And look at the screen. Now it's on. It's on.
Okay, got it. Thanks. Greg Wozniak, 1773 Bar Avenue. Hey, my comment wasn't about any particular candidate or position. It was more about process. There are some positions that are higher stakes than other positions. I would say somebody that is going on the zoning board, that's pretty high stakes, that you'd want to make sure that a person on that board is handling a decision that could be hundreds of thousands of dollars to a property owner. So I think all these different positions require a different level of rigor in deciding who should be on them. And that's where I was coming from. I'm coming from a matter of process. So just want to hope that you'll consider that in future appointees.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Wozniak. Anybody else? Yeah, Mr. Roma.
Hi, Corey Roma,
Street.
West Steuben Street. So I think I want to just start off by saying, of course, like thanking you for entrusting me with this position. And, I know there was a lot of comments from the community and that the heat was on you for a while. And I do apologize for that. But, I know like you guys understand that like it's a part of the role or whatever, but like that was not my intent in wanting to sign up for either of the positions that I was in. So I thank you for trusting me as well as for judging me as a whole rather than the worst thing that I've done. One of the things that has like kind of struck me most in this entire process has been just like, this is a volunteer position. And it's not like I'm taking borough tax money for a paycheck or something that's like higher stakes. I just want to do, I want to use the skills that I have developed to serve my community the best way I can. And, I feel, I don't know, it's just been like, I don't know what else to say other than that, than thank you, but it's been a journey. And I thank you all for treating me with fairness and respect throughout. And I look forward to I look forward to using my time to put towards my community. And I will say to anybody listening or anyone, if you really want a chance to get to know me, I'm always here. I'm the big dude in the back corner of the room in every meeting. So I'm not going anywhere. I don't bite. So, but thank you. And I look forward to getting to work. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roma. Anybody else? Yes.
Yeah, James Magan, Sterrett Street. I'm speaking for Joe Perrott. So he lives on the corner of Sterrett and Rush Way. And I believe it's a waste management truck accesses an apartment's trash there, and they run over his downspouts, his sidewalk continually. I know that he's had complaints and they've had their words with him. But I think it's incumbent on you guys to kind of deal with that. I'm not sure if the apartment's using their own private service or if they're using the one that we have. He seems to think that they fall under the new purview where they have to use our the Valley Waste. So just double check on that because his stuff's getting damaged. I know that my one neighbor Greg Duker has fixed it multiple times now. But I know that their drivers give him a hard time as they're getting older and stuff. That's a concern that they don't want to have to face, is being strong armed by a guy with a big truck. So if you guys could follow up on that. Speaking of follow up, just once again, the street, Sterrett Street, that stop sign. I've been asking about it for about 2 years now. Back when Phil first brought it up, the designs included, traffic, like lessening measures. None of those measures happened. I know that we've had 2 things up there for now, but yet again, it's been 2 years. So I'm saying something has to be done at some point in time. But more importantly, don't take 2 years to solve Joe's problem, because that needs to be solved, way faster than that.
Thank you, Mr. Manning.
Are we are we talking about the stare stop sign, blowing stop signs? I think the first time we had a request was less than a year ago from you. If you talked about it to Phil, that would have been before. I was not aware of it until about a year ago, or less than a year ago, probably, because Doug was already gone. But we have pulled the data again now that we've clarified it. We pulled it today. We haven't analyzed it yet, but we're working on that. We also made several calls to the city to get the stop sign put back when it was knocked down. Both Larry and I put in calls, 311 calls for that. Plus, we've put in 311 calls to put up in a stop bar, and they've ignored it. In fact, just denied it. So we're definitely doing things, but it is fairly limited what we can do. We're not allowed to use radar in Pennsylvania, and that isn't a long enough strip to even time anybody. So we can't, it's really hard to ticket people up there too for that. We have had officers sit up there to try to catch people if they don't stop, but we haven't had much success. I don't know if you've heard anything from the chief more than that.
Not specifically. I mean, I can look at specific stops.
Because the initial data didn't show that people were even speeding at all. But we moved it now to hope to capture it better. So once we analyze that data, we'll provide a follow-up. And I'm gonna follow up with you after the meeting to get Joe's information and make sure that we can deal with that. You said when you first talked, you said it was a waste management truck. Did you mean it was just a trash truck?
So Joe says that it's waste management. I'm not sure if that has switched, but
Yeah, they can't, they weren't gonna hear you.
Yeah.
But like, this has been going on for a while now, so I think all the trucks that make that cut, they got to take it pretty sharply.
Okay.
So when he spoke to me last, he did say waste management, but I think that they use their own service.
They might, if they're
And
larger
they have-
apartment complexes do use their
Yeah,
own
right.
services.
So here I can see that. Yeah, they have yeah, I believe that they have less than 8 units, but I think that they do use their own private service.
Okay.
So that might be something to look at.
Yeah.
Okay.
As well. So
Thanks, yep.
good deal.
Anybody else in our audience? All right, if anybody is on Zoom, you can please raise your hand. So no hands raised. It is 8:03. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Restart our computer. The update, little orange dot. Doesn't that mean an update on the